Hi everybody! So in this video I'm going to show you to create the eyes and the nose for your Elmo. You should already have the body completed and the links are all down below in the description box. So the supplies needed, I'm using the white, black, and the neon orange. So I'm going to get started and I do hope you enjoy. Round one of the nose. Just to point out, I am going to be attaching it directly to the face. So I'm going to be building right on the face here instead of doing it separately and then adding it later. So I'm going to find 6 stitches on the front of the face here. So in order to find the placement, what I'm going to do is count 7 stitches on the mouth here. So the stitches that you see on the red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is my center. And you can double check that. You can go 3 stitches above, so you're going to see your hole. 1, 2, and 3. Where I'm going to start is right on the 3rd one here. So basically I'm left with 2 holes down below before I get to the mouth. 1 and then 2. So this is going to be my first stitch, which I'm going to start down here. And all I'm going to do is 6 slip stitches around. I'm not going to crochet them just so we can find the placement. So I'm going to take the first band and do a slip stitch. I'm not going to pull too hard. We just want the band to stay in place. So that's 1. Now you're going to do 2 stitches on either side of this band. So I'm going to go right beside and do a slip stitch again. And then later we'll just grab all our bands and crochet it. So this is my second. Now I'm going to go on the other side of the center one. So just right on the other side. And here's the band and just bring it through and give it a slight tug. Now we need 3 more and they're going to go on top. So you want to go right above and I'm going to use this band. So this one, I'm going to kind of skip this one and I'm going to go directly above to this loop. So this one would kind of be in the center. So I'm just going to go right above. I'm going to go right beside that one. So it's going to be directly above your bottom band here. And this would be my top one. And now I want to make sure that I'm even with this one. So on the other side of your center top band, I'm going to attach my band. So I'm going to go to this band that's right at the side here. So this way, if you don't like the placement, if they're too far apart from each other, this way you can undo it and just find a better placement. So I'm going to go with this. So I have these stitches left in the center because that would be the center of the circle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top. And I'm just going to go around grabbing the bands and just crochet. So grab it and slide. Grab it and slide. So you should have 6 bands in total. So this would be your 6th stitch on your hook. Attach your stitch marker. And there we go. This is what you should have. For round 2 of the nose, I'm going to increase on each chain around. So right now I have 6 sections with double bands. So at the end of round 2, you're going to have 12 stitches. You're just going to do an increase to each chain. So 2 and 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So go in each chain, add 2 bands, one at a time. Slide back in that same chain to add your second. The next chain with 2. Gonna have to redo that one. Now the next chain, again, 2 bands, and you're just repeating until you get to your stitch marker. I have 2 more chains left and 2 more sections left. So if you're counting, you should have 12 stitches, including the one that's around your hook, including the band. So just remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, we're going to do 12 single crochets. So I have 6 and 6 is 12. And then you're going to add a tiny bit of stuffing just to keep the form of the nose. So you're just adding 1 band to each chain around, so doing a single crochet in each chain until you get to your stitch marker. So going in the first band, the first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and bring 1 band through. The next chain with 1, all the way until you get to your stitch marker. I just did 6 and now I have 6 more to go. And the last one where my stitch marker is. So again, you should have 12 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook, and grab a little bit of stuffing. So mine's secure, so I'm just going to let go for a second. And I'm going to take a little bit of stuffing. We don't want his nose to be extra big. We just want it to stay through up and round. Make sure you push it all in, all your strands of the stuffing, just so you won't catch on to it in the next round. Now for round 4 of the nose, I'm going to do 6 invisible decreases. So I'm just going to add an extra band. I'm not going to stitch my stitches together because I want it more of a round effect. So I'm just going to add an extra band. So that means we're doing a slip stitch in the first 2 chains, and then we're going to slide. So don't start where it's getting pulled. Go in your first chain, do a slip stitch, and leave it on your hook. Slip stitch. Next chain, slip stitch. When you get 3 loops, then you want to slide. Go to the next 2 stitches and you're going to do a slip stitch in each. Leave it on your hook. When you get 3 loops, then you can slide. And then you're going to continue like that until you get to your stitch marker, making sure you're doing slip stitches and sliding only when you have 3 bands on your hook. And slide. Kind of awkward when you sew directly onto the body, but I didn't like how if I attached it after. 3 loops and slide. And I have 1 more to do. And now where my stitch marker is, 3 loops and slide. And you should have 6 stitches. Attach your stitch marker to the loop that's around your hook. Now for round 5, we're going to close this off, and I'm going to do 2 invisible decreases. In my last band, I'm going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So we have less bands than chains that we have here. I just don't think that you need to go all the way around. So let's try it out. We're going to do a slip stitch in the first 2 chains and leave it on our hook. The next chain. Three loops inside. And we're going to do this one more time. So a slip stitch in my next chain. Go in the next chain, and I'm just going to tie this off. So I'm going to go through all of the loops that are on my hook and grab the end and tie it off. You want to remove your stitch marker, and you can flatten this out. Push your bands together and bring your slip knot through to hide it. And just flatten it out. Squeeze your bands together to get that form. I'm going to have to hide that slip knot a little bit better. For round 1, I'm going to start off with the black color, and I'm going to do 5 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to take my first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm just going to pull 5 bands through, one at a time. So I'm just going to reach in through my cap band here and bring a single band through, end on my hook, and the top loop over, and bring it to the side. Back in for my second band, bring it through, end on my hook, and now bring the top 2 loops over. You want to bring your bands to the side. Back in for your third band, bring through, on your hook, and top 2 loops over, and bring it to the side. Back in for your fourth band to bring through, on your hook, and top 2 loops over. And one more time. Reach in, band through, end on your hook, and top 2 loops over. Now you can attach your stitch marker to this band that's around your hook and then remove off the loom. I'm going to put my end back on my hook. This is my first time using an actual stitch marker, so bear with me. So you should have 5 bands, 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For round 2, I'm going to change color. So I'm going to start off with a slip stitch. We're going to increase this round to 8 stitches. So I'm going to start off with an increase, 2 bands in my first chain, and then a single crochet. Increase, single crochet, and ending where your stitch marker is, you're going to end with an increase. So you'll have 8 stitches when you're done. So I'm going to go on my first chain. I'm going to bring my first band through all the loops that are on my hook, grab my end, and slide. And now going back in that same chain to add my second band. Bring it through, on your hook, and slide. So chain 2, you're just doing a single crochet with 1 band. Chain 3 is your increase. Back in. So I have 2 chains left and 2 sections left. My next chain is with just a single crochet, and where my stitch marker is, now I'm doing my increase. Back in. So you should have 8 stitches now. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, we're going to do a single crochet followed by an increase. Single crochet followed by an increase. And you're going to repeat that 4 times. So at the end of round 3, you're going to have 12 stitches. So I'm going to go on my first chain, knot my slip knot, I'm going to go on my first chain with a single crochet, 1 band. Chain 2 is my increase. So every second stitch, you're adding 2 bands. Back in. Repeat, 1, 2. Sorry about the beeping. And repeat, 1, 2. And again, 1, 2. So you should have 12 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to do 12 single crochets. So adding 1 band to each chain, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. So I have 6 and 6. That's 12 bands, so you're going to end up with 12 stitches. I'm going to go on my first chain and just with a single crochet to each chain until I get to my stitch marker. You have 12 stitches, remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 5, I'm going to do a single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm adding an extra band. Single crochet followed by an invisible decrease, adding an extra band. You're repeating this 4 times. So at the end of round 5, you're going to have 8 stitches. When we're done this round, we're going to add a little bit of stuffing just to create the form of the ball. We don't need to add a lot of stuffing. So I'm going to go in my first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and just adding 1 band. So doing a single crochet. Now in the next 2 chains, you're just doing a slip stitch and you're going to leave it on your hook. So I'm going to go on my next chain, do a slip stitch, leave it on the hook. The next chain, slip stitch, same thing as a slip knot, just you're not pulling. When you have 3 loops, you're going to slide. You're going to repeat single crochet followed by an invisible decrease, so a slip stitch in the next 2 chains. Three loops and slide. You're going to repeat the pattern, single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. And one more time. Three loops and slide. So you want to remove the stitch marker first. You have 8 stitches. Add it to the band that's around your hook. You could secure the stitch with your stitch marker and add a little bit of stuffing. So you're just going to open it up, try not to stretch, and you don't want to overfill the eyes. You'll make them bigger than what they're supposed to be at. So I'm just filling it just to have that round to get it round. So I'm just going to put this back on my hook. And this is what you should have. For round 6, we're going to close this off now. So what I'm going to do is 4 invisible decreases. So I'm going to add an extra band. When you're done, you'll have no more stitches left. So with your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So I'm just going to do slip stitches in the first 2 chains and then slide. The next chain. And slide. And you're just going to repeat the same thing until you get to the stitch marker. When you have 3 loops, then you want to slide. This is my last band, so I'm just going to bring it through all of the loops and tie it off. You can remove your stitch marker. We're just going to flatten it up, and you want to hide your slip knot, so you're just going to go through, come out right beside your slip knot, and to hide your band, just bring it through. So we want to form the back of it, and you want to make sure that you have 2. So you want to pause the video and make yourself another. Now we're going to attach the eyes together so that they're stuck side by side. What you're going to do is put the black pieces together and squish them so that they're even with each other. And now I'm going to use 2 bands and do 2 slip knots. What I'm going to do is grab the stitches that are kind of sideways, not grabbing this way, kind of grabbing this way. So I'm just going to grab 2 of the stitches on either side. We're going to open it up. You're going to see this stitch that's attached to the black. You want to go 1 up. And the same thing with the other side. So don't grab the stitches that are attached to the black. You kind of want to go 1 up. And now bring your band through both of those chains and tie it off. And hold it again. We're going to do this one more time, not right beside where you just did your slip knot. You kind of want to go to the other side. So again, I'm at the stitch right above the not attached to the black, but 1 more up. And you want to do the same thing on the other side. So kind of look, don't grab the white down there. You kind of want to go up and do a slip knot. The slip knots are just easier because you can take it apart when you turn it around and you don't like it. So you want to kind of fix, get the shape back, and just make sure. And this is what you should have. Now to attach the eyes, what you're going to do is attach it just right above the nose, and I'm going to use 3 bands and do 3 slip knots to attach to the face. I'm going to do 1 on either side and then 1 in the center. So I'm going to find the placement here and kind of hold on to it and turn it around. Now what I'm going to do is find somewhere near the end, not right at the end, but a little bit past the center, a stitch on the head, and then a stitch on the eye. And do a slip knot. And now for the other side, I'm just going to turn around just to make sure that the placement is still okay. Hold on to it. And the same thing, not right at the end, but just a little bit past the center of the eye, and grabbing a stitch on the head and a stitch on the eye, and do a slip knot to tie it closed. Grab and slide. Turn it around. And I'm going to have to do 1 in the center just to hold it in place. So So what I'm going to do is you could either use an extra band and do one right at the edge and right at the other edge. So do like 2 slip knots, one on the eye and the other side kind of thing. But I'm just going to grab in the center of the head and 1 stitch on the eye on one side and 1 stitch on the other side. Just kind of grabbing one on each side. And I'm going to do a slip knot. If the placement doesn't work, it is very easy to undo the slip knots and then try again. You have to fix the form of the eyes. You might want to hide the slip knots first. So all these white little slip knots, I am going to hide them in the eye because the white on the white. So you can just go out to go in the eye, come out right beside the slip knots, and then grab them and pull them in, trying very carefully not to pull the stuffing, which I tend to do. And then you can kind of just fool around with that. I want to do that because I want to make sure that I show how to fix the eyes after. You want to round out the shape. All this fixing will kind of make them flat. So you want to just kind of fix it so that they're shaped like a ball. Push the nose in. My slip knot doesn't seem to want to hide, so I'm probably going to have to hide that in another area. And then you want to just kind of push the head down, fix up the mouth, and he's done. So I hope you enjoyed Looming with Cheryl. Please subscribe down below. I have a lot more designs to load, and I'll see you next time with another. Bye for now.